So we got the matchup set. Now we have the Lakers and Denver, and we have uh, Miami and Boston. And I think this playoffs has three ways that it can go. First, the Lakers win, right? Everything. The championship, they win against Denver, right? Second, Denver wins. I don't believe that Denver can lose if they make it to the finals. I believe that the Lakers will be their toughest competitor. And as much as I love like a team like Miami or the Celtics, I do believe it will be hard for them just to guard all those guys. Like having KCP plus having to put at least your best defender on Jokic, plus also having to account for Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, etc. I believe that that's a tough challenge for anybody. So I do believe that if they make the finals, also their home court advantage of altitude, the fact that they're so high up really messes with opposing teams, right? As we can see that people like Devin Booker played much worse when they played in Denver than when they didn't. And I do believe also that there's a chance which we get that bubble rematch, right? But that would be like too perfect, right? In the end, if there are two outcomes which I expect, I do think the Celtics are going to make the finals. I love that. I love Miami, and I do believe that they can push it to 7 games if Jimmy Butler plays like Jimmy Butler. But I don't believe that they're actually going to win the conference finals. I love Miami, and I'm a fan of them, and I want them to win, and I'm rooting for them to win, and they're the one team which actually has me on the edge of my seat in terms of what can they actually do. But I do believe we are undermanned, and if the Celtics keep playing like they played against Philly, which has 2 superstars, it's going to be very hard to win against them. But I do believe we could do it if everything fires in all cylinders like it did in the Milwaukee series, you know? But let's face it, there are 2 main storylines for this year. Is it, or Jokic is going to win a championship, right? Or it's going to be Lakers Celtics in the final, which would be the Lakers Celtics rematch, which could honestly, I think that would actually be something that, like, if the NBA is scripted like a lot of people say, or even if it does happen, then that would be very ironic, and it would make for some good stories, a good finals run. I do believe that what we have to see now is 3 things. First, is Jokic stoppable? Because he's looked absolutely unstoppable in these playoffs. I know that he's been guarded by DeAndre Ayton and Rudy Gobert, which are known to fold when they have stronger and like shiftier big men on them, right? Or even if they're just stronger. And I know that Jokic has had problems with Anthony Davis, but I believe that the question is Jokic a stoppable force? Like, can you actually stop him with one guy? I know that Anthony Davis has been the best defender in this year in the playoffs. Whatever you want to say, he's been number 1, and it's clear. But I also have to see, can he deal with Jokic? Now Jokic has 2 MVPs under his belt. He's not the same guy. He wants to win, and you can tell. And it's very easy for him to get ridiculous stats, meanwhile also winning games, which is a scary thing to see. We've seen a lot of guys like James Harden or Russell Westbrook or guys like that who won MVPs, had ridiculous stats, but they couldn't make it far in the playoffs, right? Like James Harden made the conference finals. He was 1 game away, but the game that he had to win, he choked. His team choked and everyone choked. So the question is Jokic stoppable? Another one is, how far can playoff Jimmy get you? I will be saying a question per team, right? Like, can playoff Jimmy get you to the finals? We saw it in 2020, but let's face it, that Celtics team is not the same team. I mean, they are the same core and they have the same guys, but it's just they're much more developed, they have better culture, and they won against us last year when we had a guy like PJ Tucker and where we were better in the regular season at least. So is Jimmy enough? And is he gonna show out? Because let's face it, he's awesome. He was awesome in that Milwaukee series and he played well in that Knicks series, but he shot very inefficiently against Josh Hart especially. So we have to see, like, is Jimmy actually going to do it for the conference finals, or is he going to try to cruise on the back of his team and try to get regular season wins like he does, where he doesn't have to be fully himself for them to win? With that will be interesting. For the Celtics, the biggest question is, can they actually do it? I know that last year they got to the finals, they stole 2 games from the Warriors, and it was like a story where it was like, oh, they can actually do it. But are they ready mentally, physically? It took LeBron going to the playoffs from 2006 to like 2012 and having to change teams to do it. It took Mike going 1-9 in the playoffs and getting Scotty to win a championship. It took guys like Tim Duncan, even though he won quickly, for him to win that many championships. They hit on all of their draft picks and they picked the best players. For Kareem, it took Oscar Robertson, and for most great players, you see, for Giannis, it took Chris Middleton, Andrew Holiday, and for every great player, there needs to be a supporting cast which is willing to win, comfortable with winning, and that they can win as a team. And we need to see that from the Celtics this year. I believe that if the Celtics don't win this year, it's going to be hard to go in the future, because Al Horford is getting older. Robert Williams doesn't look reliable for most of the regular season. And a guy like Marcus Smart is eventually going to start demanding big money. So in my opinion, for the Celtics, it's either this season, next season, or no seasons, right? Because Jalen and Jason are going to be making way too much money, and there's too many questions there. So the question is right now, can they finish the job? For the Lakers, finally, it is this team actually good enough to win a championship? We know that with LeBron James, you're going to be good enough to make the finals. And we've seen that throughout his career with 3 different teams, right? Like 3 different organizations, 3 different championships for 3 different organizations. And like overall, I think the most weird collection of teammates, like from 2018 to 2007 to 2020 to 2013 to 2015, etc. Like, those were all completely different teams, and he made the finals with each. But the problem is, can they actually win it? Is D'Angelo Russell ready? Is Dennis Schroeder ready? Can they keep this like positive mentality? Is their home court advantage actually that good compared to a place like Denver's? And can a 7th seed realistically win a championship? With all that being said, those are the questions. I do predict that it's gonna be a Western Conference team. I don't think the Celtics are ready for Jokic. And even if they are, then I do believe that Jokic is going to give them way too many problems. And I think that the Lakers have LeBron and Anthony Davis. And even though I do not think that they're going to win the championship, it's going to be hard to count them out. And finally, quick topic, I do want to say that Ja Morant needs to chill. He shouldn't be doing that. There was recently a new video released of him flashing the gun, and I do believe that that's a bad mark on the NBA, on himself, on his team, and especially since he got so much money and now that he's one of the franchise players in this league. I do believe that he has to calm himself down And if you are going to walk around with guns because you feel like that's necessary, then don't flex them and don't try not to be seen with them, because you're a role model to kids, not just to older fans who know the difference between owning a gun and not. And I do believe that he needs to be setting an example. But yeah, let's see tomorrow how the games play out, and let's see what happens, and how long does Ja Morant get suspended for.